nation. And here he is, Michael Savage.
Apparently, they woke the president up, or they got Beyonce and Jay-Z out of the White House, or the party was interrupted because they put a suit on the president. Here he is speaking right now.
Our outstanding law enforcement professionals. These men and women get up every day. They put on that uniform.
Oh, God.
They risk their lives to keep us safe.
Oh, God, not the same.
They don't always know what to
boring, useless, meaningless homilies.
In pursuit of the suspect.
Say something about how you and Holder and the FBI and the DHS and the FBI are going to change your reverse racial profiling from now on, and be on the lookout for jihadists hiding amongst us.
Said his chief at MIT. He was just 26 years old.
Again,
and as his family
worthless.
has said,
see, this is the country you're living in. This is the country you're living in. Worthless leadership, nothing, vacuum.
Serving and protecting others. So we're grateful to him.
You hear the voice? Like nothing.
Obviously, tonight there are still many unanswered questions.
No kidding. Like, how did you know who they were so fast?
Why did young men who grew up and studied here, as part of our communities and our country, resort to such violence?
Well, you ought to check their religious backgrounds. That might have something to do with it.
Did they receive any help? The families of those killed so senselessly deserve answers.
They get high with a little help from their friends, and they get by with a little help from their friends. Didn't the Beatles teach you that?
Stand and walk and live again deserve answers. And so I've instructed the FBI and the Department of Homeland Security and our intelligence community to continue to deploy all the necessary resources to support the investigation, to collect intelligence, and to protect our citizens. We will determine what happened.
They did a great job.
We'll investigate any associations that these terrorists may have had, and we'll continue to do whatever we have to do to keep our people safe.
All right, and I'll go back to the party.
One thing we do know is that whatever hateful agenda drove these men to such heinous acts cannot prevail. Whatever they thought they could ultimately achieve, they've already failed.
What do you mean they failed?
Because the people of Boston refused to be intimidated.
Oh, that's such rubbish. They were hiding under their beds. What are you talking about?
Refuse to be terrorized.
Oh, God, this is like nauseating. Do I have to listen to this? I mean, I'd like to give the man the respect of the office. I can't even do that.
Nor will we break the bonds that hold us together as Americans.
What bonds? What holds us together?
American spirit includes staying true to the unity and diversity that makes us strong.
Yeah, more. Bring more in. Bring in more from Chechnya. See what? Bring in more from Chechnya to show how a good man you are.
Tweets and blogs.
Yeah.
There's a temptation to latch onto any bit of information. Sometimes to jump to
that he was a devout Muslim. I mean, excuse me. Everybody knows that, but you're FBI.
With public safety at risk and the stakes so high.
Don't communicate.
We do this right.
We do what right?
That's why we have investigations. That's why
a lot of good. Your investigation? Did you have the guy in your investigation 2 years ago and you let him go? That's your investigation.
That's why we take care not to rush to judgment. Not about the motivations of these individuals.
Are you kidding me?
Certainly not about.
The guy was a jihadist. What's wrong with you?
After all, one of the things that makes America the greatest nation on earth, but also one of the things that makes Boston such a great city.
Oh, now come up with the Boston Bruins now.
People of every faith, every ethnicity.
Oh, yeah, we heard it before. But not every faith and ethnicity puts bombs in crowds.
Why and how this tragedy happened, let's make sure that we sustain that spirit.
Yeah, well, have a meeting on it. Why don't you have a congressional investigation on it?
Still struggling to recover.
Mr. President, pause the speech for a minute. Mr. President, go to the Drudge Report. You'll see that the dead suspect was a very religious Muslim boxer. Let's go back to the president since he's looking for clues.
Their lives reflected all the diversity and beauty of our country.
Diversity. Diversity.
We're sharing a great American experience together.
What a useless speech.
Finally, let me say that
embarrassment.
Even as so much attention's been focused on the tragic events in Boston, understandably, we've also seen a tight-knit community in Texas.
Here we go again.
Devastated by a terrible explosion.
All love each other. Sing Kumbaya now.
I want them to know that they are not forgotten. Our thoughts, our prayers.
Oh, you're so inspiring. I don't know what to do. I have tears welling up on my ankle.
Lost their lives. Some.
All right, we can knock it off now. We've heard all we're going to hear. We're going to knock it off now. The FBI admitted Friday they interviewed the now-deceased Boston Marathon bombing suspect, Tamerlan Sonny, of 2 years ago. The FBI interviewed him and failed to find any incriminating information about him, and they let him go. But what you also should know about your PC FBI under Obama is that they had also interviewed several other terrorists before they committed their vile acts and let them go. They had interviewed, for example, your friend, Major Hassan Nadal, before he killed 13 and wounded 32 in Fort Hood, Texas. They had interviewed Carlos Bledsoe in Little Rock, Arkansas, before he shot up an Army recruiting station in 2009. If I'm not mistaken, that was a year after Obama had twisted the mentality of the FBI, the CIA, the U.S. Army, and DHS. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I have no faith whatsoever that they could ever prevent another act like this again. This is a disgrace, by the way, that the president didn't apologize to the people in Boston for having failed them, because that's what would have been appropriate. What he should have said was, my FBI failed you, and it won't happen again. I've given them instructions not to use any political correctness, not to be frightened of violating anyone's religious sensibilities. If we suspect them, we're going to hold them. How's that? It's disgraceful. It's the savage nation, which is not disgraceful. We're going to go back to regular programming.